All right, let's jump right into a question that might seem kind of simple, but it actually unlocks a huge piece of religious history. Why are some Bibles so much thicker than others?
Seriously, have you ever picked up a Catholic Bible and thought, hang on, this feels heavier? Well, you're not imagining things. It has a whole collection of extra books that you won't find in most Protestant Bibles, and we're about to figure out exactly what they are and why they really, really matter.
So, these books go by a couple of different names, and which name you use says a lot about what you believe. Protestants usually call them the Apocrypha, which is a Greek word that means hidden things. Sounds a little mysterious, right? But Catholics and Orthodox Christians, they call them deuterocanonical, meaning second canon. Now, that doesn't mean they're second rate or less important. It just means they were officially recognized as part of the Bible a bit later on. We're talking about the exact same books, just seen from two very different perspectives. Okay, let's just tackle a huge misconception right off the bat, especially if you come from a Protestant background. There can be a lot of suspicion around these books. I mean, the name itself, Hidden Things. It sounds a little sketchy, doesn't it? Yeah, there's this common idea that the early church looked at these texts, tested them, and decided, nope, not for us. The assumption is they were just full of errors, or maybe even spiritually dangerous, and that they were thrown out for very good reasons. But what if that's not the whole story? Not even close.
And this is where the plot really thickens. What if I told you that the guy who literally started the Protestant Reformation, Martin Luther himself, had a completely different take? He didn't think they were dangerous. In fact, he called them, and this is a direct quote, useful and good to read. And get this, Luther didn't just say they were good. He actually thought they were so important that he translated all of them into German and put them right in his groundbreaking Bible translation. And he wasn't the only one. Other huge names in the Reformation, we're talking John Calvin, Ulrich Zwingli, they also held these books in high regard. They didn't mix them in with the Old Testament, but they put them in their own section, like a bridge between the Old and New Testaments. The message was clear, maybe not on the same level as Scripture, but absolutely valuable and worth your time. So, if the original reformers thought these books were so important, what have the rest of us been missing? What's actually in them? First things first, these are Jewish texts. They are not Christian writings. They were written during a really specific, really fascinating time in history by different Jewish authors all over the ancient world, from Judea to Egypt to Syria. Think of them as a window, a direct look into what the Jewish people were thinking and feeling and arguing about in the centuries right before Jesus arrived on the scene. And the content is all over the map, in the best way possible. You get epic history, like 1st and 2nd Maccabees, which tells the incredible story of a revolt for Jewish independence. You've got wisdom literature, like Ben Sira, which feels like a supersized book of Proverbs. There's inspirational fiction, like the story of Judith, a total powerhouse widow who saves her people. And you even get what are basically deleted scenes from books you already know, like extra stories in the book of Daniel, where he, and I'm not making this up, defeats a dragon. Okay, cool stories, but so what? Why does this really matter? Well, it matters because these books aren't just a random collection. They form a crucial, must-have bridge that connects the two halves of the Bible. Just look at this timeline for a second. There is a huge gap, roughly 400 years of silence, between the last book of the Protestant Old Testament and when the New Testament kicks off. A lot can happen in 400 years. Jewish ideas about God, about the Messiah, about the afterlife, they were changing and developing in huge ways. And the Apocrypha? It was written right in the middle of that gap. It's the connective tissue. It's the missing link. Let me give you an analogy. Imagine trying to understand the world today, but your history books stop in the year 1500. You'd have no idea about the Reformation, the Enlightenment, the World Wars. You'd be completely lost, right? Well, trying to read the New Testament without the context of these books is kind of like that. You're jumping into the middle of the story without knowing the backstory. So look, this isn't just some dusty old history lesson. The most important point here is that these books have real, tangible value for us, right here and right now. So let's just boil it down to 4 big reasons why you might want to give these books a read. First, they give you the historical context you need to understand the world Jesus lived in. Second, you get to watch key theological ideas actually develop and evolve over time. Third, you get to read the same stuff the early church leaders were reading for inspiration and to build their theology. And finally, they are packed with timeless, practical, ethical wisdom about things like forgiveness and integrity that is just as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. It really leaves you wondering, doesn't it? If such a vital piece of the story was sitting right there, essentially hidden in plain sight for so many of us, what other crucial context might we be missing?
What other hidden things are just waiting to fill in the gaps in other areas of our lives?